So the Rose coach in Unrivaled finally decided to play Lexie Hull. And what happened when Lexie Hull played more than 4 minutes?
Unrivaled League, a matchup that saw an underdog rise, a star falter, and a team finally claim victory. The Rose Basketball Club, after a rocky start to their season, made a bold move that paid off in spades. They gave Lexie Hull significant minutes. And what happened? The Rose won, Lexie Hull delivered a career-defining performance, and Angel Reese, one of the league's brightest stars, found herself benched after a night to forget. Let's unpack this unforgettable game, explore the dynamics at play, and shine a spotlight on the players who made it happen. The stage is set, a team in need of a spark. The Unrivaled League, known for its high-octane competition and unpredictable outcomes, has quickly become a stage where new stars are born and established ones are tested. For the Rose Basketball Club, the early games of the season had been a mixed bag. Despite boasting a roster with serious talent, including the highly touted Angel Reese, the team struggled to find its rhythm. 2 games in, and the Rose were still searching for their first win, a situation that put immense pressure on the coaching staff to make adjustments.
Oh, the Rose win, first of all. They win. And Lexie Hull goes 8 for 11 from the field and has 19 points.
Enter Lexie Hull, a player who, until this game, had been relegated to the sidelines for reasons that baffled fans and analysts alike. Known for her work ethic, versatility, and sharpshooting, Hull had all the makings of a breakout star, yet she'd only seen a combined 8 minutes of action in the team's first 2 games. For a player with her pedigree, a 3-point specialist with a gold and bronze medal to her name, this lack of playing time was nothing short of perplexing. Fans took to social media speculating about the coach's reluctance to unleash her. Was it a strategic oversight? A lack of trust? Whatever the reason, the decision to keep Hull on the bench had left the Rose without the spark they so desperately needed.
A good day at the office for Angel Reese. The Rose did win though, which is all that matters, but I think...
But in this pivotal game against the Mist, the coach finally made the call to give Hull a chance to shine, and shine she did. From the moment she stepped onto the court, it was clear that Lexie Hull was ready to seize the moment, and in doing so, she not only turned the game in the Rose's favor, but also rewrote the narrative surrounding her team and herself. Lexie Hull's moment, a performance for the ages as the game tipped off, the Rose were eager to shake off their early season woes. The Mist, a formidable opponent with a fast-paced, aggressive style, came out swinging, putting the Rose on their heels from the opening possession. Angel Reese, the team's marquee player and emotional anchor, was expected to lead the charge. But it quickly became apparent that this wasn't going to be her night. Reese, known for her dominance in the paint and relentless energy, looked out of sync. Her shots rimmed out, her defensive reads were a step slow, and her usual swagger was replaced by visible frustration. By the end of the first quarter, she had managed just 4 points, a stat line that raised eyebrows for a player of her caliber. The Mist capitalized on her struggles, building an early lead that threatened to bury the Rose before the game had even found its rhythm.
It's got to the stage now for the Rose where, even though, look, I don't think in the first 2 games Angel Reese was that bad. I don't think she was brilliant.
With the team faltering, the coach made a bold decision. It was time to shake things up. Lexie Hull, who had been warming the bench for far too long, was called into action. And within minutes, the game's complexion changed entirely. Hull entered the game with a fire in her eyes, as if she'd been waiting her entire career for this moment. Her impact was immediate and undeniable. In her first 3 minutes on the court, she poured in 10 points, displaying a blend of sharpshooting and fearless drives to the basket that left the Mist defense scrambling. By the time she'd been on the floor for 4 minutes, her stat line read an astonishing 13 points. A scoring outburst that sent a jolt of energy through the Rose bench and the crowd alike. Hull's performance wasn't just about points, though. She brought an infectious energy that lifted her teammates' spirits and disrupted the Mist's game plan. On offense, she was a multifaceted threat, draining 3-pointers from deep, slicing through the lane for crafty layups, and dishing out pinpoint passes to open teammates. Defensively, she was a pest, using her quick hands and sharp instincts to force turnovers and ignite fast break opportunities. Her ability to transition seamlessly from defense to offense kept the Mist on their heels, unable to settle into a rhythm.
Reese played over Azure. Like, they started Angel Reese in the fourth over Azure, and look, Angel Reese had a horrific game. Like, a terrible, terrible, terrible game. Like, it was...
By the time the dust settled, Hull had finished the game with 19 points on an ultra-efficient 8 for 11 shooting, along with 3 assists, 3 rebounds, and a steal. Her contributions were the catalyst for the Rose's first win of the season, a victory that felt like a turning point for a team desperate to find its identity. But perhaps the most striking aspect of Hull's performance was how she outshone Angel Reese, a player who had been the face of the team and a darling of the league. Angel Reese's rough night, a star's struggles while. For fans and analysts, Reese's performance was a shock. In the first 2 games of the season, she hadn't been spectacular, but she'd shown flashes of the dominance that made her a household name. In the season opener, she'd been a force on the boards and a vocal leader, even if her scoring was inconsistent. The second game saw her contribute solidly, if unspectacularly. But this game was different. It was, in the words of one commentator, a terrible, terrible, terrible game. The kind of performance that players and coaches dread. To be fair, every athlete has off nights. Basketball is a game of ebbs and flows, and even the best players can struggle. But for Reese, this game felt like more than just a bad day at the office. Her benching was a public acknowledgement that she wasn't delivering, and it raised questions about her preparation and ability to handle the pressure of being the team's star. Without her usual production, the Rose seemed disjointed, lacking the emotional spark that Reese typically provides. The contrast between Reese's struggles and Hull's brilliance couldn't have been starker.
And it's fine. Like, look, players can have bad games in basketball. It's fine. Like, of the 3 games Angel Reese had, I thought she was pretty good in the first one, and she was in the second game. And then...
While Reese rode the pine, Hull was out there stealing the spotlight, proving that she could be the difference maker the Rose needed. For fans, it was a reminder of the unpredictability of sports. On any given night, an underdog can rise and a star can falter. The Caitlyn-Clark connection, a mentorship that shines. If Lexie Hull's performance was the story of the game, the influence of Caitlyn Clark was the subtext that made it even more compelling. Clark, a generational talent and one of the most celebrated players in women's basketball, wasn't on the court that night, but her presence loomed large. Hull has been vocal about the impact Clark has had on her career, crediting the Indiana Fever star with inspiring her to elevate her game. For those unfamiliar, Caitlyn Clark is a phenomenon. A sharpshooting guard with limitless range, uncanny court vision, and a fearless approach to the game, Clark has redefined what it means to be a star in the WNBA. Her rookie season with the Fever was nothing short of historic, earning her accolades as the league's Rookie of the Year and a top contender for MVP honors. Though, as our YouTube channel has noted, A'ja Wilson's dominance likely secured her the MVP crown.
God knows why Lexie Hull was not getting more minutes, because the minute she entered the game, within, I think, the first 3 minutes, she had scored.
Clark's ability to handle the spotlight at just 22 years old, coupled with her relentless work ethic, has made her a role model for players like Hull. Hull, who shares a friendship with Clark, has spoken openly about how observing the Fever star has shaped her approach to basketball. From studying Clark's shooting mechanics to emulating her poise under pressure, Hull has used Clark as a blueprint for her own development. In interviews, she's described how Clark's maturity and ability to handle sky-high expectations have inspired her to stay grounded and focused. She's so mature for being 22, Hull said in a post-game press conference. Having the attention she has, it's pretty incredible. In this game against the Mist, Hull channeled her inner Caitlyn Clark in a way that was impossible to ignore.
10 or 11 points, something crazy like that, because I remember at the at her 4-minute mark in the game, she had scored.
Her confidence, her ability to score from all 3 levels, long-range threes, mid-range pull-ups, and drives to the rim, and her knack for making game-changing plays all echoed Clark's signature style. But Hull didn't just mimic Clark, she made the performance her own, adapting her mentor's lessons to suit her strengths and the Rose's needs. One moment, in particular, stood out as a nod to Clark's influence. Late in the third quarter, with the Rose clinging to a narrow lead, Hull drained a deep three-pointer from well beyond the arc, letting out a celebratory shimmy as the crowd erupted. It was the kind of bold, clutch play that Clark has made her trademark, and for fans familiar with both players, it was a moment that underscored the connection between them. Off the court, Hull and Clark's friendship has been a source of strength for both players. Hull has described how getting to know Clark as a person, not just as a basketball icon, has helped her navigate the pressures of professional sports. Connections and getting to know people really play a part in the success of teams, Hull said in an interview. She's a great person, and to see her be so mature in that transition, it's been really awesome.
Reese rode the pine and had an awful game, and the game got away from being about Angel.
For Clark, who has faced immense scrutiny as the face of the Fever and a trailblazer in women's basketball, having a friend like Hull provides a grounding presence, a reminder that the game is about camaraderie as much as competition. The bigger picture, team dynamics and coaching decisions. While Lexie Hull's breakout and Angel Reese's struggles dominated the headlines, the game also highlighted the broader dynamics at play within the Rose Basketball Club. The team's first win was a collective effort, with contributions from multiple players, but it was Hull's performance that set the tone. Her ability to step up in a high pressure.
Rose Basketball Club won the game. They got a victory. Funny, interesting, kind of like what happened in Chicago last year when it wasn't about